Okay, so today we're going to talk about surface area of cylinders. This is the last section that you have before you take a test. So it shouldn't be too bad because you guys have a formula and I think you guys will kind of like doing this. So, cylinders. So cylinders all have a bottom that is, and it should be circular. Okay, and there is one lateral face. The lateral face is a rectangle. So as you can see over here, they have, this is your cylinder, and this is your cylinder that has been torn apart. So your net, they unrolled it. So they took the two tops and pulled them off. And then here is what you have around that circumference of the circle. So there's the formula. So the formula for surface area is 2 pi, and I'm going to rewrite this just so you guys can see it like how we would normally write it. So it's 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now remember all those things that are right up next to each other, so like 2 pi, that's multiplication. All of those things are multiplication. Okay? So that is our formula. You will need to make sure that you have that readily available when you're doing your homework tonight. And also that will be given to you on the test. So what does the formula represent? This is the biggest part of understanding how the surface area of a cylinder works. So like I told you before, this is what should be around the circumference of the circle. Okay? So that's where that 2 pi r comes from. So remember before when we do, like I told you guys when we did the pyramids, area of base plus area of the lateral faces. Okay? So when we go with our area of the base, our bases are circles. So that's pi r squared to find the area of a circle. And then there's two bases. There's this one and this one. So that's why we multiply it times 2. Okay? And then when we add, we're just bringing that addition sign, the area of the lateral faces, the lateral face here is a rectangle. A rectangle, and I'm just going to put this right underneath here for now, a rectangle is length times width. We know that. So if we look over here, the length of our rectangle is what actually would have surrounded the circle. So that's how we find circumference, which would be 2 pi times the radius. And then if we multiply it times the width, that's right there. That's the height of the entire thing. So that's where that formula comes from. And like I said, it's going to be very, very important that you know that formula and know how to use it. So make sure that you are using it. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this problem a try. So I always write the formula, even though I've been doing this for a really long time, I still write the formula just so I make sure I'm putting it in the right spot. So the formula, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Great. So as you see, we have to have the radius, and in this case we do. So I'm going to fill in the radius. The radius is here. Remember, in case we forget, you can write this down in your notes. That's your radius. And then all the way across is your diameter. And like I said, for this, for surface area, you have to have the radius. So 2 pi 4 squared plus 2 pi 4 times 3. Okay? All right, I'm going to do the exponents first because please excuse my dear Aunt Sally tells me that that's what I should do. So 2 pi, this is 4 squared, which means 4 times 4, so 16. Plus, and I'm just going to go with just 4 times 3, 2 pi times 12. Okay? Now, the next thing that I'm able to do is, the pi is kind of like having an x, so to speak. It's not really an x, but since we're multiplying 2 times pi and 16 times pi, we can multiply those together first. So if I multiply 2 times 16, I get 32 pi plus, and then I do 2 times 12, 24 pi. This is the way I like to do it because I feel like it might be slightly easier. So then I do 32 pi plus 24 pi, which is 56 pi. So then I can just do 56 times 3.14, and I get 178.84, and we have to have that label, millimeters squared. And that would be my final answer. But I like having this answer too, because a lot of times I can see what went wrong from that answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and try another practice problem. I want you to go ahead and try to at least just fill the formula in. So go ahead and do that, fill the formula in, make sure you have what I have. Okay, so here's what I have. I just went ahead and I filled the formula in. Our radius is 6, so every time I saw the R, I put 6. And then our height is 9, so then I put 9 for every time I saw that. So go ahead, I want you to try to do the next step. Okay, so I went ahead and I just went to the next step. So I did 6 squared, which is 36, and then 6 times 9, which is 54. Now I want you to do the next step too. Okay, and so then 36 times 2 gives us 72, and 2 times 54 gives us 108 pi, and if we add those together, we get 180 pi. So we're going to do 180 times 3.14, and we find our answer to be 565.2 yards squared. Final answer. Wonderful. I think we're on a roll here. I want you to try this problem on your own and then check your answer with mine. Okay, here's what I got for an answer. 395.64 centimeters squared, and make sure you have that label because that is super important. All right, practice problem number 4. The big difference with this one, so let's go ahead and I want to highlight that difference. It's right here. Remember, when we talked about it before, we discussed radius is that halfway across, diameter is all the way across. They're giving us the diameter, so we have to find the radius, which is just halfway across. So you're going to do 7 divided by 2, and we're going to get 3.5 equals radius. Okay, so now using that 3.5, go ahead and go through the same steps with this problem. Okay, so final answer on that one, 329.7 centimeters squared. Make sure that you have the same answer that I do. Okay, next I think we're going to try just a couple word problems. So, the first one, how much paper is used for a label on a can of peas? So the thing that's important about this is they just want to know about the label. You don't put the label on the top of the can. So if we look at our formula, I'm going to rewrite our formula, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, so this part here represents the top and bottom of the can. Okay, but then we have this part here, which represents the whole outside of the can. So the thing is, that's the only part we're going to need is the outside of the can. We can't put the label on the top or the bottom of the can. I mean, I'm sure somebody could, but we can't. So we're going to plug in the formula just for this part. That's actually just called your lateral surface area. So that's just the part that goes around. So 2 pi, radius is 1, times height, which is 2. So 1 times 2, so 2 pi times 2. 2 times 2, that's 4 pi. And if you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 12.56 inches squared. Okay, so the next slide we're actually not going to do, but here on the next slide, I'm going to put what your homework assignment is. Okay, so here is your list of homework, page 372, 6 through 13 all, and 19 through 22. So make sure you have that ready to turn in for tomorrow. You have the rest of the class period to work on that. Have a wonderful day.